Jambo, my name is Vera Phoebe, a student of taste, observer of culture, and a lover of beautiful things. I'm super excited today to share with you my first body of work called The Botanical Dreams of Vera Phoebe. This project began without having any predetermined outcomes or anything of that nature. Over the course of the past few months, I've been collecting and modeling different forms using plasticine clay during my free time. As the collection kept growing, I noticed something quite different. They all had this botanical feel to them, and I was creating different flowers that exist in a space that I didn't know yet. The process of putting together everything was quite simple. After collecting a bunch of different types of forms that I had created over the past few weeks, I decided to take photos separately together and just using them like few pieces of Lego to create different flowers and things that exist in my botanical dream. For the first design, I started with what I called secrets of sprouts. With these two items together, I combined both of them and then created this shape that looked like an X, right? So there are two parallel shapes in the middle and then sort of like an X on the side, and that became like the first shape. Then I duplicated the same design 3 times. Over here you can see I'm just trying to sort of like arrange them. And I started loving the color combination as well. Like black and yellow is such a beautiful combination of color. Once my first row was determined, I duplicated the same thing down there, and then I started seeing like another sort of pattern forming in between. So it became like they look like tiny arrows. And then after adjusting it some more, it had this interesting design to look at. And this is the final form. And it became flowers of the forgotten world. For this one, I started with flowers of dreams, and it's just like one stem. And then at the beginning, I reduced the size to really tiny, because I don't know, for some reason, like it being so huge, it threw me off. So I reduced the size into a tiny flower. And then, so what I had in mind was to invert one of the flower. So it looked like, 2 of them in different opposite direction, and then that became the first shape that I was working with. Duplicated it twice. What I had in mind was to create like a border, but then again I realized that what if I made the border a little bit bigger and duplicate the same initial line. Duplicate the same line. And it didn't matter that the head of the flowers were so after creating 2 of those lines, I saw the pattern was looking quite nice. I also loved the space in between each of the stem of the flowers. It looked really nice. It sort of gave like a breathing space. And then those two lines of flowers now became the shape that I began duplicating it multiple times. So over here, I'm trying to make sure that they're all aligned. My favorite thing about this design is the space in between the opposite direction of the flowers that are going. Like, I really love looking at that space in between them. Over here, I'm just trying to adjust the lines. And then at the end, I added one so that the space is not quite bare and there is some sort of continuity around it. This design reminds me of like a Christmas card, for example. Even the color pairings look so similar. After creating the lines going vertical, sorry, I decided to put another vertical line and sort of create this woven pattern design. And if you look at it closely, at the farthest right, it was by accident, but since I hadn't aligned all the rows, it created this breathing space and this different dimension at the end. So after arranging everything together, beginning with just these two forms of flowers, this is what I came up with. Looks so nice, I love it. For the next one, I started with these two elements. So I had borrowed it from the form I had created that looked like an eye design. And so the dot, I created this 3 pattern shape. It sort of looks like the traditional stones that people cook with. But once I began duplicating it multiple times, it gave this vibe of a pixelated sand. I don't know how to explain it, but yeah, it had this texture towards it. And I was very careful not to put them too much close together. After inverting and adding more of it, I realized that there was like some space, some huge spaces, and I didn't want to fill it with one pattern of the three dots that I had created. So I took the flower and added it on the edge of it, and what I began to notice, it looks like if it's a lake or just land that is close to the river and there's soil or sand, there's like a pathway in between and like plants can grow there, right, as they're edging close to the water. And so that was the whole idea behind it as everything came together. It low-key looks like pixelated sand. And this is what I came up with. And I called it Sparks of Life. Added blue for that water effect. For this next one, I used all four of this design to create this. So at the beginning, I started with one flower, added this other design, and I duplicated the same design and put it at the facing corner. And then I continuously used a different shape to add onto the string. So with that, at the center, I used this design sort of to create like, to anchor the whole design around it. And this is just off the dome. I had no idea all these things were coming together. I was just freestyling at this point. But it made so much sense to have that in the middle and add that final design, but align it separate from how the other form was looking, and duplicate the same thing on the other side, but now flip it horizontally and sort of, for that to like crown the eye in the middle. And this is the final form. They look like the bloom. And therefore it became Garden of the Unformed, sorry. For this one it was quite different. With the first design, I just slightly pushed one of them to be lower, and then it created two items that I then replicated 3 times, and it formed this shape. So that's how it came together. And for this particular one, I called it Dreams of Singing Leaves, and I inverted them some more and came up with this particular design. For this one, I started with Garden Spirit. This was fairly quite simple, but my most striking design that I love so much. With this one is just the same shape inverted and duplicated multiple times. Let me also say I love the mixture of orange and black, such a beautiful combination, and this sort of has this earthy orange color. It low-key looks like mud. So beautiful. This is one of my favorite designs. And this is what I came up with. The Garden of Spirits. For the next design, I started with that. The whole inspiration of creating this particular form, I have no idea. At the beginning, I thought I could create like a miniature creature on its own with a head and hands. But it didn't have any feet. So it just looked so awkward and different, and I sort of created something that looked like is it bugs flying, or like a school of birds flying. I duplicated it twice and then had the same design At this point, I was trying to align the design itself. I wasn't sure with the direction that I was gonna go for. So after duplicating it 3 times, I noticed the patterns were not quite aligned, but it made the most sense having them sort of face like a similar direction. And after grouping them, I was able to reposition them. Obviously, there are some forms that are overlapping as well, but this is how the final design came about. We have some of them facing front and others this other side, and then this one is all of them facing the same direction.